Good morning, Council. My name is Debbie Stables. I'm a member of Acorn. I'm nervous, obviously. My new landlord bought the building and gave us a letter stating that there wouldn't be no changes, absolutely none. And then about maybe a week and a bit later, most of us received N13s. Names were spelt wrong. Even some tenants didn't get any. So, yeah, I've lived where I am in Vanier in my building for 20 years. I've been there for 20 years. So I'm kind of grandfathered in, I guess you'd say. My rent is only $602. And that's the kind of people they're after. It's a bachelor. I have a fixed income. I'm on ODSP. To move to another place would be not recommended for me. It would break me. I can't afford regular rents with the fixed income. And the tactics that the landlords did were targeting us seniors that have lived there for a while on low rent, as you know. Cash for keys. And I live in a twin building. There's side by side. One took the cash for keys. The bachelor next to me, the gentleman moved out and they renovated in there. They're charging him $1,700. It's just like my apartment. They have stopped repairs. Inside, they have stopped repairs to a halt. It impacted me physically and emotionally. My life turned upside down. Headaches, sleepless nights. I never used to get headaches. And I'm grateful to Acorn because without them, I couldn't do this. And now my life is an open book, but I'm glad because you got to know what's going on. If I would have to move, I'd have to ask the postman to deliver the mail to my car. I have nowhere to go. Yeah. Both buildings didn't go to the LTB. Like I said, one neighbor took cash for keys, but the rest of us fought. We stayed. We're still living there because we went public. I was on the press, on the news, and I guess, being the big corporate, I don't know. They backed down, which was fantastic, but nothing's guaranteed. My landlord was hoping that we would settle and, stick our tail between our legs and leave. Sorry. That's why Acorn has been educating tenants for decades, but renovictions are still increasing. It shows us our current tenant rights don't protect us. That's why we need renoviction bylaw. This is not just about me and my neighbors. This is about every person in Ottawa that is unfortunate to deal with this. Even though we won this renoviction, in my buildings, I don't feel safe because my landlord could sell the building and, I could be renovated again with a new landlord. I will only feel safe when there's a renoviction bylaw in writing that shows me that I'm safe. I'm speaking from my heart. I ask you to listen with yours. Thank you.
Debbie, thank you very much. There are some questions for you from councillors. Councillor Luloff and then Councillor Troster will have questions for you.
Chair, if the councillor member that's a part of the committee wants to go first, I can cede the floor to her.
Thanks, Councillor Troster.
Thank you, Councillor Luloff, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm so sorry you went through that experience. And so can you just tell me how many apartments are there in your building?
6 and 6 side by side.
Okay, and everyone received a notice at the same time when the building was sold?
There may be one or two people that didn't, and the people that did, the names were spelt wrong. And I went to one Nicholas where the paralegal told me that it was it wasn't any good.
Okay,
And then when I went to their office, Jason and Barra is my landlord. I went to their office and he told me that they weren't doing it anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fantastic. Why didn't you call me and tell me?
okay. So you mentioned your neighbor's apartment was renovated and now the rent is $1,700 instead of the $600 that you're paying. Did you get a chance to see what the renovations were that were made?
Yeah, I seen it's cosmetic,
Okay, right. So like what? Like
basic
paint job?
floors, a new sink in the bathroom.
Okay. So as a tenant, do you think if those renovations were made to your apartment that you would feel the need to move out, or do you think that's something you could live through?
I could live through.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you mentioned that you're on ODSP. Thank you for sharing that. Can you remind me of what the housing allowance is under ODSP?
14.
That's the total that you get per month.
Oh, what was the question? I can't
So
hear.
you get $1,400 a month.
Yes.
And then is there a specific part that's designated for housing under ODSP of what you're supposed to be paying? Either way, 600 is already almost half your budget per
Yeah.
month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a vehicle too, and insurance and bills.
Okay. So if an apartment was $1,700 a month,
Oh,
that
no,
would be
no.
more than you're already receiving. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So staff will be bringing back a draft renoviction bylaw in the spring. And the idea is to create an interim step so that if a landlord does feel the need to evict before they issue an N13, that they would have to prove that the renovations require vacant possession of the unit.
Definitely have to prove that because what needs to be done in my apartment is just a cosmetic.
Okay, and so it's also, you were mentioning that any of you who chose to stay at the lower rent, that the landlord was refusing to do basic repairs?
I think so.
That's your impression. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That seems very consistent. And again, you're saying none of the cases in your building ended up going to the landlord tenant board.
No.
Some of you fought and stayed, and some people took
Yeah,
the cash for keys.
I went public. I was on the news. I was on the press, and I guess it helped us.
Okay.
Protesting in front of my building with Acorn. I'm grateful for Acorn.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story. And again, I think this gets to the nugget of the point that I've been trying to make, which is that the data shows us a trend, but it in no way captures the scope of the renoviction problem we're seeing in our city. And your story as a senior woman who's paid your rent faithfully for 20 years,
Yep.
who's on a fixed income, your story is the typical profile that we're seeing in my office. So I think it's really important that you shared it. And I know it can be really hard to tear your heart open and tell your story, but I want to let you know that it does have an impact. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Thanks, Councillor Lula.
You answered both my questions while you were. Oh, don't problem.
I'm sorry.
You answered both my questions in responding to Terrell Troster, but I do want to let you know that this is your landlord's name is one that's come up in my office as well, in my ward as well. So this is not something that's isolated. So I really appreciate you raising that with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Love. Debbie, thank you very much. You did great.